The Cowabunga summer continues as we are jumping into. Is this the first? No, it can't be the first, TV movie we're covering on Movie Tales, is it? I don't know. Interesting. Hey, it's Turtles Forever. Before we jump into the ones you probably want to hear me talk about more, we have to talk about this one. This is the culmination of the 2003 cartoon, the era I grew up watching. So they had a TV movie which was kind of split into 4 parts called Turtles Forever. So that show ran for 7 seasons. Season 5 was kind of like, what if we did like Ninja Tribunal stuff? Season 6 was, what if we went to the future? Remember that? Fast forward. Season 7, what if they went back to the sewers and Shredder was in a computer or something? Tron. And then, to wrap that up, they decided, let's do Turtles Forever, a celebration of the Ninja Turtles mythos. That's what we're doing here. And that's what this movie is. I remember seeing this as a young boy, and I was like, I'm hyped. Okay, yeah, okay. They want to see the 80s cartoon? I haven't seen that at all when I was a kid, so I'm like, yeah, let's see what that is. Watching it now, it's a TV movie, and it's just like the end of the show, and it's fine. I think this concept has been done better in other shows. The 2012 one did like the dimensional crossover one where they had the actual voice actors from the 80s cartoon voice the Turtles. This one doesn't. It's just kind of sillier that way, and it doesn't work as well, but it's kind of meta and fun. It is very like on the nose about what it's doing, and I appreciate that. And it goes into areas you're not really expecting. So that's kind of fun, I guess. It's a lot like No Way Home, but that's just kind of fun. First thing, if you've just been like watching the movies and you haven't watched the 2003 cartoon, this isn't the way the characters have looked the whole time. This is like the shift in style for the 7th season. Splinter looks terrible, April looks terrible, everybody looks bad. I hate the way they all look. It does not work for the show, and it's ugly and stupid and boring. And then, the Hun's just doing a thing, and then the Turtles show up, but it's not the Turtles of the 2003 show, it's the Turtles of the 80s show. And then half this movie is just their interactions. And I guess that's what you're here for, Like, that's what you want to see, isn't it? It's fine. It's such of like, yeah, we want to like show you we love the Turtles and support it, but this middle stuff just doesn't feel like that. There are some clever bits in there and some fun jokes. I love the bit where 80s Raphael keeps breaking the fourth wall and Hun is getting more and more pissed, like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? That's really funny. I dig that a lot. I also like just the casual way they have stupid weapons and can do anything. We have anti-technodrome technology that can stop the technodrome. What does that even mean? That's not technology, that's just stuff you have. Ridiculous, it's funny, it's cool. It's all about the tonal shift, which I love how it sets up, like, the 80s one, it's the 80s. Look how weird we are. It's loud and dumb. It's silly. They're not serious. April gets attacked by pizza and bananas, and you're like, okay. And in this one, they're so serious and brooding, but they're not really, and everyone's just like, would you shut up for a minute and just let us think? Which is kind of fun. Raphael of the 2003 era, he's pissed off the whole time. But Michelangelo of the 2003 era is just like, I like these little guys. Look at these little goofballs just being little silly boys around here. It's fun. Until he gets annoyed, and I love that. I love that it both reveres the 80s cartoon, but takes the time to be like, shut up. We're not there anymore. This isn't fun for us. You're annoying and lazy, and we don't like you. Please stop. I appreciate that so much. So what's the plot of this? Technology sends the Turtles. There's like a rift. They show up in the 2003 dimension. Okay, the 80s Shredder is like, hey, Krang? Which, okay, that right there is like my first thing. I remember from the 80s stuff that Krang was the one in charge, and Shredder was the boob who was bigger than the other boobs, So the hierarchy went Krang, Shredder, then Bebop, and Rocksteady. But in this one, they make it feel like Shredder is like above Krang, which I don't think is right. That doesn't feel right to me because it's Krang's Technodrome, not Shredder. So that felt very weird. But this Shredder's like, well, we're in a different dimension. And the Turtles are here. And there's 8 of them now. and we're gonna have like a fight, which is kind of fun. I love that first fight with like the Technodrome, where they start fighting like the '80s foot soldiers, and they're just like robots. And they're like, what? That's dumb. And then they trap Bebop and Rocksteady in like sand and rocks, and you're like, what? You're not gonna do anything to them? Like that kind of stuff is funny, and that's how you do it. And then the '80s Shredder's like, if there's turtles here, perhaps there would be a shredder. Well, there is. We know it's an Utrom shredder because there's an infinite multiverse of shredders. This one we put on ice because he's literally on ice. This shredder has been put on ice for the 2003 shit. And this shredder of the 80s just uses like a transdimensional portal, pulls him down, they open him up, he gets pissed off, and then that's what this becomes. This becomes the 2003 shredder just being like, I don't care about any of your other shredders, the Mirage one, the stupid cartoon one. I'm the shredder. I'm scary. I'm intense and gonna kill you. I'm going to kill you. And that's what he does. He takes control of the entire operation. He gets Karai and his foot soldiers to help out. They manage to take over the Technodrome. They suit it up, and he learns about the infinite multiverse of turtles. He's like, I'm going to kill them all. That is what this plot becomes. We're going to kill all the turtles in the multiverse, and I'll take over. Why? Because he's pissed off at the turtles. That's all this is. That's all this is. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, I'm here for that. Like, that's a fun idea. Just on a metatextual level, that a shredder is supposedly the most intimidating creature in the Turtles universe, and then this one's like a weird freaky alien creep, and he's actually like deadly and gonna kill everybody. I like that. That's a really cool vibe that I can get behind. It's just so funny to see the contrast between the 80s and the 2003 shredder, where he's like, yeah, this is just a fun moment we're having. Look at us just battle. I'm never gonna win, but this shredder, he fucks. He's gonna kick some serious ass. And he does, and his plan gets so convoluted that's gonna destroy the entirety of existence. And you're like, why? To what end do you want to win, you know? It's very bizarre. But again, we cut that with like hijinks where like, you know, the 2003 goes to like the 80s era, and it's like, hey, why is April wearing like a jumpsuit and getting attacked all the time? And the Splinter's so nice, and everything's just so different and weird here. It's kind of pleasant, and they build like a transdimensional hopping device with a flashlight, and it's cool. Another thing I just really appreciate is like the Donatellos get a lot of play here. Both of them are allowed to be smart in different ways, and I respect that. Where the Raphaels, you know, they're kind of more sarcastic, or the one is, and the Leonardos don't get much to do. I do appreciate that kind of thing. Makes for a nice little moment. What? Sucks that this is just a bizarre thing that happens. I don't really get that. There's not much to talk about, really. Like, they just get pissed at the 80s ones, and they learn a lesson about being better. And the whole time you're like, I guess this is fun. You know, I guess we're feeling good about this situation. Like, we're enjoying ourselves, and there are some good music stings, and there's some good moments going on, but it really picks up in the end where it gets really meta and funny, which I appreciate the ending so much. 2003 Shredder captures them all, and he puts them in like a weird like sphere. They spin around until they disintegrate, and he's like, I have traveled through the entire realms of the multiverse, and so there's always a turtle there. And then we just get glimpses of every other iteration of the Turtles up to that point, which is so cool to see because it's only 2009, so you get like the Mirage comics and the Image comics and the Archie comics and like the Urban Legend comics and stuff like that. And then the movies, and then like the other cartoons, and then like flashes forwards from the actual cartoon we're watching, and then the 2007 iteration, and they're just like on screens, and I'm like, that's like, it's TV. Like, the fact that they did that at all, because all of those are associated with like different companies and studios, that's impressive. Like, I can't be mad at it for doing that. It looked interesting. And when you think all hope is lost and the turtles are going to die, they're actually secretly saved by Karai because the Shredder's plan is to destroy Turtle Prime, which I love what Turtle Prime is. It's so good. So we see universes literally being erased by like a pen, kind of. That's the implication, where because they are like a comic book creation, the world fades to white and like ink outlines until everybody dies, and like we see Casey and April like become nothingness. And it's crazy, but I do appreciate that. What a fun little touch to bring this back to comic book fun. But the 80s and 2003 Turtles go to Turtle Prime. which is the Mirage comic book. It's in black and white. Everything's intense and crazy. And it's the perfect blend of the evolution of these characters, because when we see the Mirage Turtles, they're dark and brooding and Frank Millering all over the place. You have the 80s ones. We're fun and goofy and lighthearted. The 2003 ones, perfectly fun, perfectly dramatic, but brooding. Mirage ones, just brooding. Everybody's intense. It's scary and dark, and it's so fun. And it's like my favorite joke in the entire like movie, where it's like, I think it's Donatello who's just like, you guys, there's like the Technodrome is coming here. It's like this big device that can like kill everything in existence. It's the Technodrome. What is it? It's like, well, I have this device that can track it. And then the Mirage Leonardo was like, is that it? And just points behind them to like the big thing that's destroying the city. And he's like, it's been doing that for like a week. I don't know why. It's just weird that that's happening. And then it just turns into the Mirage, the 80s and the 2003 Turtles fighting 03 Shredder. And it's insane. And then 80s Krang gets super big to fight the big Shredder. And it's a really good thing. It's like, this is so cool. Like, that's the stuff I like. I don't need all the middle bullshit that's just whatever. I like this stuff. This intense, stupid shit. And I love the way he's defeated is that Bebop and Rocksteady are bamboozled by Shredder and Krang of the 80s universe. They break themselves free. One of them trips over a cord that powers off the laser. And the Shredder's like, you can't defeat me now. Only that laser could hurt me. They plug it back in and he's defeated. Like, that's funny. That it's just that big laser's controlled by a cord. That is hilarious and so fun and cool. And then they save the day and everybody wins and it's Turtles forever. Like, if that's the last Turtle story ever told, I guess that one, because they all learn a lesson. The 80s ones learn to grow up a little bit. 2003 ones learn to have a little bit more fun and have less stakes at everything. And the Mirage ones could go for a slice of pizza, and the episode ends with them doing the iconic pose, jumping down to get a slice. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fun. I had a good time with this. The animation looks bad sometimes, but it's television. You know, it doesn't render perfectly, and it hasn't been like remastered, so you're just getting a shitty version if you watch it on Paramount Plus. I don't know. I just don't like the design of the 2003 that they went for in that. It's just not the good designs. Not the good designs. And the 80s ones should have got the voice actors back is all I'm saying. But the Mirage stuff, that's really fun. It's a really good idea. I think it works better than anything else in here. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the 2003 era, I did an episode of The Geek Way of talking about that because it's the one I grew up with. It's really good. And this being like the culmination of that entire series, I just wish it was a little more interesting. As opposed to just, you know, I'm so sick of these 80s guys. They're so annoying. Like, yeah, we agree with you. You couldn't show it to a kid today. I guess Toka and Raza are in this too if you care about that at all. And Hun becomes like a turtle, whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The best part is just plugging in a cord and killing a big Shredder Utron. That's sick. That's fun. That's Turtles Forever. It's not the worst Turtles movie we've talked about, but hey, is it far from the best. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. It's ninja time. Turtle power. There's always a reference to make. Hey, some people can't handle change.